It puts you in a very weird space. You're the topic in family gatherings. You're the side eye in a street. Like, it just puts you in a very awkward, weird space. You get to be labeled barren, childless. You hear things like, or is he shooting blanks? Or you hear someone saying, or do I need to show you guys how to, roll the punch? Because maybe you guys are not doing it right.
I sat out of work for, I think, a year. And then by the time I'm almost getting back, I find out I'm pregnant again. Mine was a classic case of birth control gone awry. Yes, that's how I became a mother. Do you know, mothers are not supposed to say it, but there is a regret. I love my children. They're the most precious things that I have, but they came at the wrong time. They stopped me in advancing my career. They stopped me in doing what I had planned to do. Is that a bad thing? I don't know why society makes it a bad thing.
The one thing I am grateful for what my ex-husband took me through is it forced me to grow. It forced me to appreciate life. It forced me to appreciate love. It forced me to realize the role I played in the failed marriage, because a lot of times when you're the abused, you always point the finger. But you see, the abuser is being himself. It's not right, but he's being himself. So why specifically you? It means you gave them a playing field for it. So getting to a point where I realize I must also have had a problem to be able to date a person for 2 years, see red flags, marry them, proceed to insist that I want a child, even amidst abuse, I also had a part to play in it.
So it's not an easy journey when you come out of prison. You feel like time stopped, but time moved on. The kids grew up, they have their own, and they survived without you. So it's dawning on you that these kids actually survived without me for 2 years. And that they have a life. Even if I died today, they'll still move on.
I thought of harming the child physically. And that's when my therapist sent me to a psychiatrist, because I felt like maybe if the baby is not there, then I'll be fine. But I'd not throw her out of the window alone. If she goes, I go. Because I can't live with that guilt and the shame. So if we go together. So I'd not be allowed to be with her alone in a room.
I'm very happy to see you. My name is Maureen Waititu. I have been part of the UnMothering the Woman conversation in the season 2. I have met you, but virtually all of you, your stories are so incredible. And I think the reason why we're here is because we want to hear more about why you shared your story and what it has done to you since, yes? So I think I'm going to start with my far left and maybe a short introduction.
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jerry Furaha Muchuro. I am a photographer, educator. I'm also the lead instructor, programs coordinator for an organization called PhotoStart. Some of my babies are here. We train young people in underserved areas, photography and storytelling, just empowering them on how to tell stories and tell their own story authentically as best as they can. I'm also a mother of 3, 2 bio babies and 1 gift. I am also divorced and very happy.
Yes. Wow, thank you so much.
So my name is Valentine. I am a clinical psychologist in training. I'm also an advertising and marketing expert. I've been in the field for well over 10 years, but now transitioning into the mental health space. I'm a mother of 3, 1 bio and 2 from a blended relationship. I am a former divorcee and a new bride.
Wow, I'm loving this. I'm so inspired as it is, and I think before we go back to that, I mean that is really exciting. I'll go to my far right.
Hi, my name is Aya J.K. Kalejo. Who am I? No, I like differentiating between who I am and what I do. I think I am should speak to the absolute, the things that don't change. And then what I do is everything else that is that keeps evolving life. So I am well, the absolute, I am a human being. But yeah, I exist as a transgender woman. I love as a lesbian, and I fight as a feminist. So I have one child, a binary human being, and what I do, I've done a lot of things. I've been researching for a bunch of years. Last year during COVID, I was a journalist. I'm COVID journalist. This year I'm working with a funding organization that funds LGBTQ and sex workers. Yeah, it's me in a nutshell.
Wow, thank you very much, Aya. Okay, Ma'am Fatia.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Tia Shokamu. I'm a mother, a grandmother, an ex-banker, an entrepreneur who owns a restaurant, an ex-offender. I'm very, very grandmother of
well, I didn't quite introduce myself other than the name, which is Maureen Waititu, and not that Waititu, another one. And I am a passionate content creator. I'm a lawyer by training, although I do not practice. I practice it when I'm reading my contracts, though, and when I meet the cops by the roadside. I know my rights. And I'm also a mom of 2 boys. I'm a single mom of 2 boys, very happy also. And I am also very passionate about topics such as this. But the most important of all is that I am a woman who is so lucky to be enlightened in the 21st century, to meet other wonderful women who have decided to say, what do we say? I am unmothered, yeah? All right, so without wasting any minute, I think I'm going to randomly pick any of you, and I'm going to ask, maybe you can give us a summary, I think I've started from another time, of your story. Just a summary, and to just give the people who've not watched your story a chance to know what you're all about.
So in 2013, I met a gentleman, fell in love, got married in 2015, got pregnant in 2016, left in 2017, remarried in 2021, January. That's a summary of my story. I left my marriage, my first marriage, because of abuse. I was severely emotionally abused, and it's a tough space to be emotionally abused because you have no scars to show. And no one believes you because of the manipulation that goes on around it.
And it took a lot of healing to get me to where I am now, very, very happily married. I can't imagine, the life I have right now and the life I've experienced in 2021 is nothing even close compared to the pain I went through in 2015, 2016, which was the first year of marriage. I cannot compare the two, yeah? So I thank God for the healing. I thank God for what I went through, because in sharing my story, I've also been able to bless so many people and show so many people that it's possible to heal, and it's possible. Second chances are available. Yeah.
Well, I think from what I'm picking from you, Val, it's about second chances in life. And your story is very similar to mine. I think we realized when it was not too late. And indeed, there's nothing as painful as emotional scars. Somebody, right, you're not trying to prove that this person was emotionally abusive, did all this psychological damage to you, and you're on your own when it's said and done. And so it's such victory to see a woman like you rising and finding love again, because that is the other thing. We live these situations and they're like, never. It can never be me. But then, seeing such a story, I'm also a firm believer in love. I'm in love once again, not married yet. I'm hoping he puts a ring on it. You can see the grounds are good here, yeah? So it's just okay, and for both men and women to say, hey, I went through this, you also discover yourself, and you refresh everything about you so that you can attract what you deserve. So kudos to you. Kudos to you. All right, I think I'll go straight to Aya. Maybe, yes, I hope you were ready.
I was enjoying listening.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me see. So my story in Unmothering the Woman is about chosen family. And for me, I did not think too carefully when, as friend, one day she asked me to take part. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. But then afterwards, what kicked in was a lot of imposter syndrome. Because first, I belong to a community that is considered, well, mainstream society, religion. People say, oh, your community is destroying the family. So for me to claim I have a family, I have children, then I'm saying I have a child now, is already, it's kind of taking back something what all we are attempting to destroy. So that was the first imposter syndrome, that you are part of the LGBT family, you're a transgender woman, and you are claiming to have children, which technically is not even possible. You could adopt, but again, then you claim to be the mother, not the father, you're the mom. So again, so there's all that going in, and there's all these external factors which will, if I had thought deeply about them before doing the story, I would have said, no, I'm not going to do this. But I did think deeply, and afterwards I was really glad I did it. The other reason was, so that was external challenges. Internal challenges was, one, we are a chosen family, meaning even within our community. So there's lesbians who have children. There are children they have birthed. There's gay men who have children. But so asking me, a person who has not birthed a child, again, almost like, how within the LGBT community, you could find so many people with their own quote unquote what people call biological children, yeah? You could find those. So why come to me who's my family is formed through choice? It's me choosing my children, them choosing me back. So there was a ton of all that. But yeah, we did it. And so for me, I think this past year it's been a journey. Just also figuring out what chosen family is, and continuing to choose each other. And the final bit is that all my children are adults. The person I'm speaking about now is 21, and they are my last children. So we're living with them, and we're looking to do formal things like adoption. But yeah, this was, I think it's a journey that's still ongoing, and I think getting into mothering the woman was a big part of not just telling my story, but also for me trying to navigate. And yeah, since then it's opened up a lot. I have friends, mothers, and we joke a lot. They're like, oh, you just took the shortcut. You started from age 21. And yeah, and I'm always like, oh yeah, there's no way. I respect what you're doing. I couldn't do, from 0 to 21. I couldn't. So we joke. They give me advice. And like, okay, this is what you need to. This is how you relate to the kid, and they give them advice. I say, this is how you relate with adult children, because they are above 18, but somehow, given our, the socio-economic setup we are in, we kind of have to keep parenting our kids, maybe all the way to 30 before they start parenting you. But the socio-economic lives that we have means that you have to take care of them longer, and you have to keep learning from them because the world has changed so much. And you have to open yourself up to all these needs. That was a long introduction.
It's incredible because I have in a way familiarized myself with the LGBTQ and the rest of the letters they've added, and remind me of this show Pose, yeah? Yes. I don't know, I think I'd encourage everybody to watch Pose. Pose, P-O-S-E, on Netflix. It gives you a lot of what the community is. And away from even the community, I know a lot of us have not been mothered, yeah? I am one of them. I was never mothered. I have a mom and a dad who are very healthy and alive, but I've never been mothered, meaning that I was thrown into the world to take care of myself. And when my time came for me to be a mom, even attracting the partner I attracted at that time, I attracted somebody unavailable who didn't even know how to father himself, And I think it cuts across everything and saying that sometimes you can be 21, 30, 50, but you don't know how to be mothered, yeah? So as we unmother ourselves, it's important to ask ourselves, have we been mothered enough? Have we been nurtured? What can change? And it's okay, sometimes you can be your own mother, yes? Sometimes the community like this one can be your mother, because we are in a safe space where we are cutting across all topics and saying it's okay for you to go for the shortcut and start from 20 to 21-year-olds are difficult. They think they're adults, but they really aren't, And I think it's very courageous to do that. And I think, again, one last thing about your story is that you jumped right into it without thinking, or, you didn't process it. And sometimes you have to be thrown at the deep end and you swim back, and that's how you become an expert. And when they ask you how you did it, you say, I did it, but I don't know how I did it. Well, we're here now. And I think your voice is absolutely important, cherished, and valued right here at UnMothering the Woman. And I know this is going to be the beginning of something revolutionary, yes? All right, so I'm going to go right to Mama Atia. I know your story. I think when I did my review about the story that touched me the most was yours, and the courage to come and say, I have been here, and this is who I am. Away from the missteps, the mistakes I made, and the whole journey of, being behind bars and living out your children who, it doesn't matter what age they are, but we know that there are others with very little kids. And I learned a lot, even in terms of the laws that are there and how they take care of, or lack of it anyway, of the kids out there and the mothers in prison. So maybe you can just give us a summary of your story.
2011,
talks about something. I didn't know what she was talking about, the magistrate. Oh, something 3. Something 3. I didn't know what 3 was all about. She meant that we've been sentenced, or you can't. Yes. She meant that I'd been sentenced for 3 years. My daughter was there, and immediately she started having a panic attack. And you're somebody who's not a prisoner, you're told to come back this side. Now you're a prisoner. And then it dawns on you that actually I'm going to prison now. You go to prison in that big green bus. And I'm wondering when I'm going that who's going to take care of my kids? Who's going to take them to school? Who's going to feed them? I had a small granddaughter. My daughter was at home. She was brave enough to come back home after her divorce. So she was home, and I'm like, she can't take care of her daughter. Most of it, she's a young girl, and who's going to take care of my granddaughter? Who's going to feed her? And all these questions kept on running in my head. And I was so disturbed. And every time they came to visit me, I was like, has the child eaten? Did you guys go to school? So I didn't realize I was still mothering them, and I'm behind bars. And there was a lady who had a very small child, and I'm like, I wouldn't want anyone to come to prison with a small child, because I kept on thinking of that baby we left in the house. If she came to prison with this child here, how is she going to birth her? How is she going to feed this child? She herself is still a child. How is she going to look after this child? And it really, really bothered me. I didn't realize I was still even taking care of that baby. I was like, let me hold her. Let me help you. Go feed it. I was doing it unconsciously. Little did I realize I was taking care of that little baby we left in the house. So later on, when I came out, it came as a shock to me that I don't know how to be a mother anymore. These kids have moved on. Nothing stopped them from going about their business. And where I left them, they were not stagnant. They grew up. My son was a man. And he resented, like, where are you coming from? Where are you going? What are you doing? They hated that I have to go on being, we're eating at this time, and they would eat at whatever time they felt. They didn't want to eat food. They ate bread. And I was this strict mother who, we have to eat at this particular time. We have to eat in the dining room. We have to stick together, pray together. And these ones were just eating at whatever time they wanted. So it came to me as a shock. What is this? Who are these? Are these my children? Yes. And they resented the fact that, don't go here, don't do this. And they were like, hey, mom, we grew up. So cool it. Yes. And I didn't know what else to do, because for so many years, all my job was just being a mother. Now I have to look for me, find me, be a wife, be a mother again. I didn't know how to do it. So it was a tough journey. Up to where I am, they're the ones who have control of my life. They say, don't go here, don't do this. And I'm like, huh? Now I'm the one who's being told what to do. So it's quite a shocker to me. I'm still getting used to the fact that they are all mature people, that my daughter has yet another child, and she's aunt tells me, no, don't go here, you're going to do this. And I'm like, so this was going to happen, now I'm the child. So this is where I am now. Wow. It's a journey that I've had to come, and realization that I'm the baby now in the house. Yes. Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
Wow. You see, yes, please, a round of applause. Yeah, for Mama Pache, I mean, it reminds me of the last time we had this session with Pinky. I don't know who was there, but there's this lady who shared her story, and she said that she got her baby when she was just joining school, Kenya School of Law, actually. And she was worried sick that the baby is back home with the mother. And she kept thinking she's not good enough, she's not a good mom. And I think mothering behind bars sometimes goes beyond you being away there. It's about the mom who can't have access to that child, despite all the challenges that you cannot access. But it never stops. And it's okay to come back and be mothered as well. and the greatest lesson from Mama Fatia's story is that sometimes we worry so much about every aspect of our kids' lives Why else you go away for a week, you find, I mean, 3 years is a long
moved on.
time. Yes.
Life moved on.
Exactly. So we can't always cover them. And it's okay to say, it's okay to, well, not necessarily take a break. It's impossible. Even if you're in Hawaii with a mojito, somehow you're thinking about your kids and you're wondering, have they eaten? It's
Yeah.
very difficult to detach. So can you imagine even the difficult circumstances where you can't have your mom there with you or your child there with you? It's okay. And yes, sometimes our kids mother us. My 6-year-old goes like, shh, mommy, you're shouting. Calm down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you just lost your two teeth. There's no teeth here. And he's just telling me to shh, shh, you're shouting. Calm down, you know? And it's just incredible how I think we do this thing with our kids. We mother them and they mother us. And what a blessed generation I keep saying we are. We're aware of even what our parents went through and what we are doing consciously and saying, hey, I will not allow this to happen because I can change the narrative. All right? Jerry, a summary of your story.
Okay, yes. So I'll start with two things. The first one is I love my children to death. Okay? Non-negotiable. They are the best thing that ever happened to me. They are just amazing. Number two, never take your birth control and antibiotics together. Okay? I will leave it there. So my summary is I had a life plan. I had started on it. I was on radio, I was on TV, I was a model, I was traveling. As in, I had my life planned out very well. As we are. I'm like, what, 21, 22? There's no reason to have a baby. But yet I have a boyfriend, and we do what boyfriends and girlfriends do. But I'm on birth control. And then I was pregnant. So I don't regret my children. I regret the timing that they came at. Because how I found I was pregnant, I thought I had malaria for 4 months. So this is like, it's not ending, doctor. I'm feeling like I'm dying. I'm throwing up. Like, okay, so I am on radio, as in I've secured a job, I've secured screen tests, I have passed some, I'm doing production work. My life is going very well. And then I'm on birth control, and then I'm on antibiotics. And nobody, what Johnny said, the lack of access to information. Doctors don't tell you, do not take these antibiotics if you are on birth control, because the result is a baby. Okay? So if that was readily available, I promise you, I would not have a boyfriend, because boyfriends give you babies and they destroy your life. So for me, I say it in jest, but it is true. I lost 7 to 10 years of my life mothering, because the industry that I'm in at that time, I was in TV entertainment. The minute you sit down, there's a fresh face, there's fresh talent. You are replaceable. All the gains that you have made are gone. You will never catch up. Let nobody tell you you will catch up. You will get on a different path, but that path that you had set yourself on, you will never catch up. And I usually tell some of my friends, so I love Janet so much. We got on the scene at the same time. So I see her progressing, and I hate her, and I hate my life, and I look at my children, I go like, I love you. That is where I was supposed to be. If it wasn't for you. Now, flip on that, different story. 1980, 1981. Two people meet, they fall in love. Then they do what boyfriends and girlfriends do. 1983, they get pregnant. December 1983, they get married. March 1982, they get married. March 1983, I get born. My mother hated my guts because she had a life plan. I was the unplanned child. I was beaten within every inch of my life, but I kept surviving. Okay? My brother is here. He will tell you, I was beaten for the sins of everybody in the house because I'm the one who made her get married. I'm the one who stopped her career path. The rest were wanted. I was now we are here, we can carry on and mother you. So now also believe in the cyclical ways that life gives you and that we need to break these cycles. This is why access to information is very, very critical for the young children. For them to know, yes, birth control works, but then ask all the questions. If you have a plan, if boyfriend is part of the plan, that is great. But know that things that boyfriends and girlfriends do result to children. And are you ready for that? And when the baby comes, let us readjust. So as I said, I don't regret my children. It's because of them, a bad marriage, heavily abusive, almost depressive and very suicidal, that got me on the path of photography. And with that, I've won like countless international awards and all that, and I'm here now.
Wow, Jerry. I feel like I'm reliving this once again after watching your story. Hearing it in different words and just the confession of, come on, these things happen. Safety as to what conversations we're having today on UnMothering the Woman. Amidna. Jasho. Once again, this is just incredible. And again, I can pick at the cycle as well. Mom, Jerry, and then I'm sure in your mothering now, again, rightfully calling us a blessed generation of knowing where we're coming from, what we are, and what we want for our kids. I think this is so brave. Mom would have wanted to have a space like that, but then she took it out on you in a different way. And when you found yourself there, I'm sure you reflected and you're like, wow, this is it all over again.
But I actually understood her.
Yes.
Because all the pain she used to throw at me,
yes,
I could not throw it to my children. So I had to hold it back.
Exactly.
And look at them like, yes, you are here.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
We get a new plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And look at you now with everything you've achieved. It is, this is incredible. So yeah, I mean, a lot of us also have stories. I personally, I was, those babies that, your mom, okay, well, my mom lost my big sister before I was born. And because of the society bashing her and calling her childless, she met this young man, fly guy. That's where I get the looks from. And before long, Maureen comes and the guy realizes, oh my God, there's a baby here. I will not, again, psycho, yeah? I will not be dad because, hey, bailing out is cool, early 90s. And looking back, of course, I've come to also understand my mom, and I've, in my journey of healing, even in my most recent past situation, I had to really do a lot of forgiveness, and I had to start with my parents. I've been so lucky to sit down with my dad, and he told me his side of the story. He said, I didn't know any better. My blood was hot, and I felt like making more babies elsewhere with anybody. Now that but he just lives up the road. This is a sign. But it's just incredible to see that cycle breaking. It's okay to forgive where we're coming from and change the narrative and be better parents and better generation for the sake of our future generations as well. Yes? All right. Aya, I know, I think you addressed a bit of what I'm about to throw at you. It's very simple, don't worry. And, and I think you addressed as to why you shared the story, but then I would want, and again, we'll do an all-round, how it changed or shaped you, just vocalizing and being in that space of, hey, guys, I'm a queer mom, and it is what it is. Yeah, how has it shaped or changed you since then?
Yeah, so just like I said, it's been since we did that first edition, it's been a lot of learning for me. And so the thing with chosen families, you had a bad family before your chosen family. That's the thing. So with my children then, with me, we're all carrying quote unquote trauma from, because if you're queer in Kenya, if you all know, if you're in high school and you're discovered you're a lesbian, you got kicked out of school. If you came out, well, I don't like calling it coming out, if you invited everyone into your life, if you told people you are queer after high school, then for some people they get kicked out by their families. So you find a mother saying, no, you're no longer my daughter because you love other women. And so, and then there's me, who has a family of all these people who were told they can't be part of a family because they're lesbian, because they're transgender, and then we form a family. So already the word family is, traumatic for us. It has the first trauma I spoke about, where you're told by society that you're trying to destroy family, destroy community. But then it has personal trauma, where these people are coming from families that either disowned them or something of the sort. Wasn't for everyone. Some were really happy families, which is nice. There's really nice parents out there who love their children despite whatever gender, whatever sexuality they have, or whatever sex. There's parents who say, it's you and me, and it doesn't matter what the world says. There's those. But then, yeah, so that was the first challenge. And so you have a traumatic experience, and then somehow it's relieved now with me. And me, I'm already the person who, if you'd asked me 5-6 years ago, I would never have told you there's any plan to be a mother to anyone. So there's that whole thing of, why am I even doing this? So that was the first challenge. And I've grown since. It's that whole thing of understanding that parenting for mental well-being. So not just for my children, but also for me. So that was a really huge part of it. Then there was also, then you start also having to think about finances. So finances for bringing up, for paying school fees, for high school, primary school is different when you're doing financing for an adult child. And and I know that sounds like a paradox, adult. But it's what it is. It's someone is trying to get their wings. And so there's that part where they have their own freedom, but then there's the part where for this flight to take off, you need to give it a bit of runway, you need to make it, take off. And so for me also that was, and I've never been good at finances for myself, and so it was interesting to learn how to do this, not just for me, but also for my children. And my current 21-year-old is the one who does budgets for me right now. Mom, I know you can't do this, so these are the expenses, this is how we're splitting. So yeah, it's been a lot of learning also on that end. So there's those aspects of, but I guess the biggest lesson I will say is that we learned to write our own script, because one, we couldn't follow the script that's been written for families, because that script was never written for us. We were never meant to exist in this way. So there was no way we could say, okay, this is what we are doing, because this is what families do. And so we had to start picking out what kind of a family are we, and what are our practices. So first we had to pick values like honesty. So was in this always happened from incidents. So someone had an incident with the police, and this happened, and I will be okay. So in terms of honesty, I need to know about these things before they come to me from the outside. So we had to sit down, and we had family meetings. We'd sit down and talk. Say, okay, this happened. This is how we reacted. What is the way forward? So we'd say, okay, one of the new values, or one of the values we do is honesty. So we tell each other, even if you've killed a person, you come and tell mother, no, mom, I've killed a person, and then we'll be okay. Like, let's help you sort this. I know it sounds terrible, but yeah, we had to have these kind of agreements that one, we don't live in a society that was created for us, and so we had to use our own rules. So it's whatever you've done out there, come with it, and we'll protect you from the outside, but then also figure out between ourselves what you need to do to remedy, because you can't go around harming people or something. No one in my family killed anyone. But that's an example, yeah. But yeah, we had those kind of agreements, and we had this kind of. The other thing that was unique is we could talk about like all sorts of things. So, my children would come and say, "Oh, I have a new girlfriend," and that was so. Again, there's the big challenge. I know people are thinking, "Oh, you're a transgender woman, so you're used to living outside the beaten path," but that's not the case. I think either Janice or Ramina or Caro, someone said we are all children of the society. We are children of the patriarchy, children of these systems. Yeah. And so even for me, just you have to wrap your mind around, so it has to become a normalcy that your daughter will come and tell you, "Oh, I have a new girlfriend." And that's normal. You have to get used to affirming gender in ways that the child who's female at birth is he, the trans man. So it's every day was new learning, and it's I think in terms of families. So if this was a regular family over here, and then there is maybe not so regular family, adopted families, lesbians with children, those kind of families. Over here, I think mine was completely off the beaten path, no map, and we've had to learn a lot. But so we've learned to pick our own values, and as crazy as it seems, we actually a family. And the other thing we've learned is about choice, and so the imposter syndrome wasn't just for me; it was also for people who are now my children. And for them it was, first, I'm not the conventional mother, so I'm a trans woman. So already that puts is it a chip on their shoulder, because someone will tell, like the one who finished school recently, someone will be like, "Oh, bring your parent." I'm the one showing up. So there's already the chip on the shoulder, and that worried me for a while. It was like, by doing this family, am I making their lives worse? Because am I making it more difficult? Because I'm also kind of a target. So does it make it worse for my kid? And so we had to come to our own definitions of what does this chosen family mean for us. And sometimes we'd sit and talk about it. And one of the comforting things I found, this one came from my child, my daughter, it wasn't from me. And there's this common saying, it says, blood is thicker than water. Yeah? And so she had to go, like, so far there was still a lot of ties with her birth family, but they encouraged that. Some of the children I had last year are now like properly reunited with their birth families, and that's one goal of a chosen family. If you can have a relationship, if you can patch up things, that's a goal achieved for me. Yeah? So she was trying to navigate the relationship with her birth family and her relationship with me, and she explored the meaning of this saying, and the original original saying used to be the blood of the covenant, the blood of the agreement is thicker than the water of the womb, which is, it was profound. And so when she told me this, first it hit me that, oh, I've been assuming we are, it's a easy ride for us, but clearly if you went to research such things, you've been having a conflict within you. And so, but the fact that she found this saying kind of affirmed for her the kind of family we have, a chosen family. So the saying itself, blood of the covenants is thicker than water of the womb, was used, well, in ancient days when people would agree to be, like blood brothers, would make a covenant to go to war. And so it used to encourage them that this choice they've made is stronger than whatever other bonds. And so we've been using that as a foundation for ourselves, that the blood of these agreements we have, this chosen family, is stronger than whatever else came before. And for me, I think, to conclude, I think that's very powerful, because choice comes before. When people say they loved someone else, choice also comes into that. You choose to love someone. You choose to carry a baby. Well, as much as society tries to take that choice from us, but yeah, we choose to keep that baby for the 9 months. We choose to, go to deliver the baby, and then finally we choose to either parent or not to parent. And so, while that is obscured because of the rules that our society has for us, like mothers should be like this, women should be like this, or you can't exist in this way. Despite those rules, I think if we go back to the root of the things, love is powered by choice. And so for me, having a chosen family, we don't have blood, but we have choice. Okay.
Wow. Very powerful. I just want to say that you're important, you're valued, you're cherished, and it's not easy even to love a pet sometimes, even a pet or a plant that doesn't even talk. Can you imagine loving and taking care of grown children and then putting those values into them? And I think my takeaway home from you today is, despite you being over there with your family and the rest of the other regular and other families being over here, we stick together, put our values and stick by them. And I think that is really, really, really incredible. So, wow, thank you for that, Aya. Mama Fatia, I'm going to ask you the same thing. How has this conversation shaped you since, you spoke out loud and took that courage to just tell your story?
It made me realize that I'm finding me. I'm in a good space, that the children are all grown up with their own mind. And then another thought kept crossing my mind is like, after this conversation is, if I was asked, if I was a young mother, what would you prefer? To leave your child behind or go to the bars with it? And to me, I felt I'd rather be with that child. I'd rather be with that child. So when it's cold, I can cover it instead of worrying about, even if there were adults, did they eat? Did they sleep? Are they well? It made me think that maybe I'd rather be behind bars with this child. And if behind bars they can make these mothers' lives a bit conducive, that it would make every mother not really mind going behind bars with that child, because it sets your mind free of that worry. Because once you're a mother, you don't stop worrying. Even our mothers, when we were all grown up, like my mom used to tell me, when the phone rang, it was like, oh, now who's calling me to tell me somebody died? Oh, such bad news. So we don't stop worrying. So this conversation has taken me to a good place where that I appreciate that my children are there for me, and I've been there for them. They worry about me, now it's their turn to worry about me. I worry about them all the time, but now they worry about me as well. So, and I've realized that they're very thick as thieves. Maybe I'm the odd one out, but I realized that going away from them, they really bonded. And there was a time I felt like I'm the odd one out, like they spoke the same language. Because I was away, and whatever trauma, whatever experience they had together, it bonded them. It bonded them with their father. They'll be like, Dad would buy a kilo of meat and put it in his pocket. I didn't go through those experiences. I don't go through those conversations, but I find like they're really close now. There are times like I say, what happened? What did they say? Who said that? And I'm floating, I'm not in that conversation. But all of us are close, not as close as they are with their father and the others. And I've appreciated that space they're in and the space I'm in. So this conversation is making me realize that we need to grow. We need to accept. When we sit and talk with other women who have been formerly incarcerated, they tell me the same tales that I've been through, and I feel I'm not different, that I didn't do anything wrong, that we are all going through similar experiences. Because one says, I left the child with my sister, and this child has nothing to do with me, and we cannot relate anymore. This child was like 10, 11, so she's like closer to the sister than to her. So it's hard for her now to even to reach the child. So it's not easy. So that makes me feel, let's go back to the prison with you then, so that we can keep bonding and I can know you're reading, you're writing, you're sleeping, you're warm. So that is where I'm at. So I feel maybe something could be done to make their lives easy behind bars.
Wow, and I totally agree with the little experience I've had, seeing women behind bars and mothers in that case. And I think I'm going to be categorical by saying that, and I think Fatio must agree with me, most of these incarcerated women, whatever crimes they end up committing, it's usually passion, love, wanting more for the loved ones.
The children.
Yes, and for the children, sometimes it's desperation. And I think it's a topic very close to my heart, and I feel in fact, I think this is, I'm going to start by saying that with UnMothering the Woman conversations, this is the one thing that I'm so eager to go back and do, make these kids' lives comfortable, because there's the one lucky mom who will have the sister or the grandmother to the kid, but then there are those ones who have nowhere to go. And we all know how the situation is in prison, and sometimes, can you imagine taking your child there, wanting them to be there? It has to be the hardest sacrifice. And we all know there's the age limit, whereby after some time you cannot stay with them. Yes, the circumstances are not the best, and I think this is such a strong language of love, not to just your children, but for me as well, personally. Seeing your story, it really moved me, because I thought, what if it was my mom? Even as a child, Amina and the siblings, I think you're just brave, and them taking over and saying, hey, you know what, we're going to be strong together, we're going to be bonded, and we're going to take care of mom now. And she's the odd one out now. But I think it's amazing to have that second beautiful chance and for you to share your story. Wonderful. So, Jerry, I'm going to come back to you. Same question. How has the conversation shaped you, changed you, or moved you?
First, did not expect the backlash that came. It came so furiously. The fact that it felt that me saying that I regretted the timing of my motherhood and the journey that it set me off on, for people, they interpreted that I said I hated my children. And the thing that made me very it's not really worried, is that that pedestal that people put mothers on needs to be destroyed.
Yes.
Because allow me to have the duality of existence and choice. I can love my children to death. Like, if you touch them, I will kill you. But then allow me to say that on the same breath, when they came, was not conducive for me. Because as a woman, I have a choice. I should have a choice at the time that I want to become a mother. And it feels like we are denied that choice like every single day as women. There is legislation that goes against it, and then Mara, now we cannot even be taught about sexual and reproductive health and stuff. But we need to be given the space to first say it. Because after the story came out, the views for both and against were many. Mostly I got the thank you so much for saying it, because I could not say it, and you're giving me the chance to actually say that. And I don't need to feel bad in the sense that I don't need to feel guilty that my child interrupted my education and I'm not happy about it. My child interrupted my career and I'm not happy about it. They may have, by their coming, they may have put me on a different trajectory and I may be successful or not, but as a human being, I dare say as a man, if you want to go straight, you can actually go straight. And with everything that is on your path, you can bulldoze your way to straight. But I cannot bulldoze a child on my way to straight. You know, and I should be allowed to say, that makes me so sad. And that makes me so mad. Because I had a plan. But then also, we need to create the space for when women say that, and we create that space so safe that you can tell them, okay, you wanted to go straight, but you can go around. And that's still a path. Because now once you become a parent, a mother, I became a mother like Doremi. Again, malaria. It's a very bad disease. So I gave my firstborn to 2019. She, great child. I was in the house, Dora the Explorer, singing ABCDs, and then all of a sudden, 19 months later, I got malaria. And then 9 months later, I had a child. So I spent a total of 10 years in the house mothering. That was not, if I had someone to tell me, you know, Jerry, Sawa, you're not stuck. You can actually go this way, and it can lead you somewhere else. That community around mothers is lacking. That's what I found out. Because people believe that once you become pregnant, there's a software that is installed in you that now you're a mother. You know what to do. You know ABCD and please. Once a child is born, a mother is born. In the same vein, once a child is born, a father is born. So we need to have pull in both areas where the fathers also come in and say, Pia mimi sijui, so tusijue pamoja, let's try this. And that's the other thing that my story, the question came, where was the dad? He was somewhere. Somewhere being happy, oh wow, I have a baby. But there was no support. So we need to also hold like partners accountable and pull your weight. That this child, this woman who has given birth, does not come with a pre-installed motherhood software. She is learning on the job. Ergo, even you can learn on the job. And you grow as a parent. And you give, by that, you will give the woman space to breathe and realign. Because motherhood really, unless that was just your pinnacle plan, to grow up, get a baby, or grow up, get married and get a baby, and that you have self-actualized, great. But if your plan was to grow up, do this, and then maybe there's a child, then the child comes now. Grant us the space to feel the feeling. Because if you don't feel the feeling, you know how you're told to feel the feeling and let it go? If you don't feel the feeling and let it go, it turns into bitterness. And then you turn on your child. And then you create me, who has to go through therapy to forgive their parent and unlearn how mothering like my mother. Now I have to mother like myself. And that's now we have to break those cycles of abuse and stuff like that. So that was, for me, my main takeaways from what the story came and how it has impacted my life. Now I have to be like, I am a deliberate parent. I'm very conscious about my children. I have 2 daughters and a bonus child. I have to be very, very cautious about how I parent them. Am I placing myself on them? Is this coming? My brother once said, there's a day I yelled at my children and he had his mother. I had to take a step back. Hello, Madam Therapist. I think I'm turning into my mother. Because I don't want to break my children the way my mother broke me, because I am the one who interrupted her plans. And it has made me grow by fire, by force. It has made me now, Amina doesn't like when I say this, now I have turned into a mother even in my workplace, because I'm very conscious about how people react. So I mother children between the ages of 17, 16, all the way to 35. They call me Mama Yao for some odd reason. They are there. They need to explain that. But I see the path that they may be taking. I know it's too much to put on myself, but then once you have gotten onto a path of healing, you become a nurturer. And you see it in other people, and you want to bring out the best in them. So that's what it did. Double down on therapy, got my children into therapy just in case. I don't want them to be here saying my mother did. So we are uprooting those things now. And therapy is very good for children, by the way. It's very, very good. And the therapist actually helps me mother my children because they decode them. I'm like, this child. She says, don't worry, she's fine. So that's the other community that, because of how our lives have changed, our communities have also changed. So we don't have that auntie you run to and say, Ma, my child. And they can decode for you your child. Now we have to be deliberate with the people that we put around ourselves who will help you in your motherhood journey as going forward.
I'm really speechless, and this is one of those moments. I think you've tackled so many topics in one, especially on that aspect of letting somebody else help you be mom, and then you overextend it from your 3 lovely ones, and you mother all the other ones, the grown ones. And I think that's quite incredible. So, wow. Wow. That's all I'm going to say. Please.
Divorce rates in Kenya have really gone up, especially since the Marital Act was changed. And the question we have to keep asking ourselves is why? Why is it happening? That's number 1. Number 2, the number of mental health cases has also really gone up. Stress levels are high, dysfunctional families, because as much as the rate of divorce has gone up, people are still staying together even when they shouldn't. And then this ends up creating Jerry and Val and Maureen, where you relive the life your parent lived with the hope of changing the narrative subconsciously. You're not aware of it. So you go, you marry your father, and then you hope that you will make the situation different from what your mother went through or you as a child went through. When I shared my story, a lot of women came to my DMs telling me, oh my God, Val, this is amazing, you've really encouraged me. And the encouraging thing was not that I found love again, no. It's in realizing that I had a part to play in my broken marriage, despite the fact that I was the abused. The abuser was being himself. He was being himself. Why did it have to be me? Why did it have to be me who gave him the playing field to abuse? And these are signs we see right from dating, and we keep hoping, no, you know, because you're already broken. You're already a broken person, so you're not aware of it. And it's a narrative. We have to learn how to parent differently. We have to learn how to be sober-minded as women, where, fine, the guy has left. You're not going to force a man to father if he doesn't want to father. You won't waste your time running to court every month. So, okay, you've gone to court, you've been told that he's supposed to give in so much, he doesn't. So every month utakuwa unashinda kotini. Rather than say, okay, this is a situation we are in, and as Jerry said it, how do we go around it? How do I be there for my child such that they never feel that they lacked anything simply because their father was not present? And a lot of times in divorce situations, the women are the ones who are left bitter. We carry the bitterness, we carry the anger. You find ways to manipulate the situation so that you can punish the man. The guy has moved on, and he's remarried. Moved on with his life. Woko hapo tu bado. Trying to beat up a man who feels nothing for what you're doing. And my story helped open people's eyes to that. The women were like, oh my God, I never thought about it this way. The third bit is I'm in a blended family. So my husband has 2 children and I have 1. We're hoping for more between the 2 of us. And step families are things that people hide. Yeah? And it's unique. For us, it's really crazy because my son looks exactly like my husband. Exactly. My friends, one of my very good friends is in the crowd, and they ask me, Val, you can just tell us, we won't judge you. Imagine tuambie tu. The other ridiculous thing is all my children's names start with N. So there is no way of ever knowing. My boys look alike. My daughter looks like me, looks like my sister. In fact, they are sort of the same person. And we never have to disclose what is going on because their mother is not in the picture. And my sperm donor is also not in the picture. But we don't hide it. And a lot of times people will ask me, why don't you hide it? I'm like, how then do you show people that it's possible to be a loving step-parent? That it's possible for 2 children who do not share blood to love each other? How do you show people that there is hope for the narrative of stepmothers does not have to be, I mean, even my own nanny tells me, pale nimeketi mama Nathan, huyu mzee anapenda Nathan kuliko watoto wake. Na wewe unapenda watoto wake kuliko Nathan. Because it's a deliberate choice. Loving somebody else's child is not easy. I won't sit here and say it was at a magical thing, we sat each other and we felt it. No, it's a choice I have to make every day to love those children. It's a choice I have to make every day to show my child that, for where my baby is sitting, he does not know. The older ones know. He doesn't know that my husband is not his biological. He's 5, he's young. But teaching people and showing people that this journey is not easy, but it has to be a deliberate one. And love is not a feeling, it's a choice, it's a doing word. It's something you have to put and invest time and energy in. Like Jerry said, we took our children to therapy. We took our 2 older children to therapy. I had to go for therapy because by the time I was leaving my marriage, I was a dead person. I was a walking corpse. Yeah, I was so severely depressed. I was sick. I was so sick. My son was sick. We were all sick. So healing is what sharing my story has done, and not just for me, but for so many people. for so many people who keep telling me, oh my God, I can now see the mistake I've been doing. Let me leave this guy alone. Watakutana mbele. Let me focus on loving my child and be the best parent I can be to this child. Or now that I'm in a blended family, let me love these children and show them that, yes, your mother and father might not have worked, but that is not what marriage is. What me and your parent currently have is what marriage is.
Wow. Valentine. Another one, please. That spoke deep into my heart. I feel like you're a sister sent to me to just walk a few steps ahead of me. Our stories are so similar. It's not even, I'm going to see you later. We talk about this, but I think we have heard about second chances, about just loving and making a choice to love, making a choice to go to therapy, making a choice not to repeat the cycle, and definitely making a choice to be unmothered. Whether you're a man or a woman, this applies. Whether you're anything you are, whether you are Mama Aya, you are who you are. And I will have to bring this to a close. There's so much we could talk about, but thank you so much for attending this session and Mothering the Woman. May it not end here. Let's continue creating safe spaces and having these conversations.